What's good, everybody? Ace of all trades here with the game Illuminaughty. We are back for yet another movie review. Appreciate you guys for coming through. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Before we go ahead and get into the review, we got to go ahead and introduce the panel. GI's favorite, very own UTXJG Didon. Say what up.
Yo, good.
True. And now we are joined, but not one, not two, but three GI Patreon members. First of all, one, this is, I would say, classify him as GI shooter. Anytime we gotta play a shooting game, anything like that, he's always there to, you know, pow. Tony, say what up.
What up?
True. Another familiar voice that I know for a fact that you guys have heard in any 2K streams and everything like that. Bishop, say what up.
Hey, yay.
True. And another familiar voice, a long-time supporter of GI, and just, you know, he's always all around solid dude. Bean Sauce, say what up.
Was good.
True. Now today we will be reviewing Us. Now, a lot of people had high expectations, especially after Jordan Peele's Get Out. Everyone was like, oh man, it's about to be like another Get Out and everything along those lines, but it actually wasn't. It was a different way. But I will say that I appreciate the fact that so far his movies make you really think about a lot of things later on. The references, Us, is it talking about the US, or can you apply it to wherever you're from, everything along those lines, everything like that. You can think about it, can be as deep as you really want it to be, or you can kind of just scratch the surface. Going into the movie, I try not to have the Get Out mindset. I just said I know for a fact that I'm going to think a lot. I did. I enjoyed the plot behind it, and I didn't necessarily it was a scary movie because I wasn't scared. There wasn't a moment where I was like, oh my god, oh. I wasn't scared like that, but I really did appreciate, the tethered, untethered, that kind of the relationship between that. I did think there was some like freaky scenes or whatever like that. When I say freaky, like kind of like creepy, like, oh, like what the hell, like but we'll talk about that later in the review. Since we have a little bit more people in here, I'm gonna go with JG first. JG, what did you think of Us? What did you think of the movie overall? What was your initial impressions? How was your experience in the movie theater? All of that.
Man, it was definitely interesting, given that Jordan Peele set the bar extremely high, in my opinion, after Get Out. I know that he wants to kind of stick in the horror genre when it comes to movies. Well, a lot of people were saying that, Get Out wasn't a horror movie. He said it was, but for black people, more like a documentary. Like that's reality, bro. That was our life right there. So for us to be a true horror movie that's not really about race, but obviously has a black family as the starting cast, that was a big thing. And for him to say that he's gonna make another movie, and then he drops the trailer on Christmas, and immediately people are just throwing all of their fan theories into it. Like, this movie had a lot of hype behind it, and I will say that even though I enjoyed the movie as a whole, I still don't think that it gave the same impact, in my opinion, as Get Out did. And I think that's mainly because we weren't really expecting much when he did Get Out, because that was his first movie, so we weren't really expecting the greatness that was Get Out. But Us, again, the bar was set very, very high, and I just don't think that it hit as much as Get Out did. And again, I'm not saying that it's a bad movie, because Us is not a bad movie by any means. It's still a lot of things that you got to think about, but I felt like once I dissected everything after I saw Us, I didn't feel like I was doing as much dissecting as I was when I saw Get Out. Like, Get Out just had way too many undertones, and you had to watch it multiple times or look up something after you were done in order to like catch everything. But for Us, I caught the majority of what was going on, and I didn't feel like I had to look that much. But I was saying that, like, for an actual like horror movie, it was actually decent. I think it did decently as a true horror movie. Now, would I say I was scared? Yeah, it was a couple of points where I was like, oh man, like dang, if that happened in real life, like I actually would be kind of creeped out. So I think he did do a good job there with the actual horror elements. And again, the movie did make you think. So there were some points, and obviously at the end, once you get to that, I don't think that too many people caught, what was actually going on in the grand scheme of things. But again, once you got to the end, it was kind of like a couple of things you were like, oh well, that makes sense once you think back on it. So again, I think that overall it was a good movie, but it just didn't hit the same to me as when I saw it Get Out for the first time.
Okay. Tony, I'll go with you. What did you think about the movie?
The movie was good. I just felt like towards the end, it felt like very rushed to try to get an ending off, and but the movie was fine. As both of y'all said, it wasn't a horror movie. It was more like a thriller, and it did have like a lot of comedy. That's what got a lot of people laughing. And then there wasn't that many like horror like things that happened, and a lot of things were like how do I say this, like the killing, when they killed them, they weren't as graphic as they should have been on some of the deaths, but the movie was good.
Okay. Bishop.
I liked it a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. The very first part, I didn't like. I thought it was kind of boring when they introduced the family and all that, and it felt kind of like go along inevitable. But after that, it really did pick up. The pace going on. I liked her acting as the tethered and the main chick. The dad's humor, I'm not gonna lie, it was low-key awkward and kind of cringy when he kept trying to make jokes over and over. I think if it was intended to be awkward and cringy, I can see that, well done. But if it was actually meant to be funny, then I think they kind of failed on that. But other than that, yeah, I agree with a lot of y'all. It wasn't a horror movie, more of a thriller. There were some creepy moments. I liked the music, the soundtracks that went on in there. It was really good. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't like, it didn't have me super hooked, but I was intrigued and interested to see what happened next.
Okay. Bean Sauce, what about you?
The movie overall was like piggybacking off what everybody else said. Yeah, they did say it was a little more funnier than horror-esque. It was more like it felt more like they just had the scenes there to, just to set the setting instead of actually like make you feel terrified or anything like that. Me personally, I did enjoy. There was the one scene in general that really encapsulated like what the movie could have been, as in when the family first came in, and then when the family first started coming to the house, you could actually feel like the tension and the horror and whatnot. That buildup was actually impressive. It's like a show of showmanship of how Jordan Peele knows how to make his movies. But towards the rest of the film, it starts to go less and less towards like horror and more just like a thriller where it's like, oh god, or somewhere left on your right. But overall, I could say it was a pretty solid experience. It kept me going for the most part, and it actually appeased my my newfound love for Jordan Peele, putting like small pieces and like imagery inside his movie that you have to pay attention to and catch, which is one thing that when I first experienced Get Out, I completely did not expect, nor did I actually pay attention to, which made me have to go see it again, which is actually pretty dope.
Okay, and just to kind of piggyback what you said, I think Jordan Peele definitely has his mindset and how he is and how he directs the movie and everything along those lines. I would be curious to really pick his brain and like how he really thought about other things to do, no matter what the topic may be. And I definitely do think that this movie with Us is a movie that you have to watch multiple times, because there are subtle things that you may not necessarily see on just the first watch and the first playthrough pretty much. And but I can appreciate that. A lot of people, like everybody we got said that, hey, like, this isn't Get Out, but I still feel like it hit in the right places. I feel like at the end it was a little rushed. I think there was some some cringy moments, like for instance, like Elizabeth Moss, that was the one of the friends mother. She was the one when her tethered side was like putting makeup on for the very first time, or the scene where she was pretty much yelling at her husband, Josh Tyler. I think the name of the character. That's his name. That Tim is his name. When she was yelling at him, I thought it was kind of like, all right, whatever. I mean, there were some funny moments. I will say though, with Winston Duke, M'Baku, we see you, bruh. Stop it. You were supposed to knock out your tethered side, bruh. You were weak the entire time. But I will say, and I will admit, that I think that the dad jokes and everything like that was pushed. I think that was natural and it worked. I think it worked. I think it was intended. The only reason why I said it worked because I believe it was intended. Now, if it wasn't intended, then it makes it a little bit corny. But from my perception of it, I thought that the corny dad jokes and everything like that, it really helped with, like, kind of build the relation with the family, to show everybody everything that happened. Now we have to talk about this, and I'm gonna go again with JG because I want to hear his thoughts. Lupita, there was this controversy with this movie, was the fact that she had to actually go out and issue an apology because of the criticism of the voice that she adopted from the kind of the sinister tethered role that she was acting, and a lot of people were actually mad at her. It was really kind of, today's America is like, geez, like, she wasn't making fun of people or anything like that, but a lot of people felt like she was mocking a disorder. So in speaking of disorder, I mean, we can talk about the character she played too, about how she saw her tethered side and then had pretty much post-traumatic stress, and she stopped talking, but then we saw at the ending why she stopped talking. But she actually had to apologize because of the sound she was making and a lot of people saying she was mocking them. And I don't think, as an actress especially, I don't think that she was mocking them. I think that she, as a great actress, she studied people that suffered from this type of disorder and noticed how maybe some of them had talked and just kind of embraced it in her perception of it as its own. I don't think that she was trying to be negative towards anything at all. I think it's crazy. JG, what were your thoughts about this, man?
Agreed. I don't think that she should have had to apologize, but again, that's part of the sensitive society that we live in, and everybody having a voice. Because it really got to a point where they were like, oh well, if you had to do this, you feel like you had to do this, then why not get someone who's actually disabled to play that role? Which, I mean, if we're really gonna go there, like, when we're talking about playing such an iconic role like this, like, there are just some things that you as a type of person with those type of disabilities you can't do. So, I mean, Lupita, being the great actor that she was, she felt like she had to tap in to that role, and she felt like she had, and that's what she wanted to do. That's what she felt like she had to do in order to fully tap in. So I don't think that she was mocking anybody at all. She just did what she felt like she had to do in order to greatly play that role, and she did. So that's that. Like, she shouldn't have to apologize for that.
True. I mean, it's just wild. Bishop, what are your thoughts?
If she has to apologize, then I think Ben Stiller should apologize for doing Simple Jack. If she has to apologize, I think is it Tom Hanks who has to apologize for doing all Forrest Gump? If he has to apologize, I think Adam Sandler should apologize for doing Waterboy. If she has to apologize, an old boy who played Radio should apologize as well. Yeah. So it's like, she's an actress, so I think that's the key word, act. She's acting as if she has a problem speaking. And even in the movie, you can see that why she has a problem speaking, and she's speaking that way. And it wasn't to make fun of them; it was to, like, show that that's her character. That's how she's written to talk. And if you have a problem with the way that she's written to talk, then you should have a problem with all these other movies with the way they all making fun of the slow people. Like, for example, Johnny Knoxville played that one slow character. I forgot what the name of it was. But yeah, like, there were multiple times you could have been mad at other actors for doing that stuff, but you choose to get mad at Lupita for doing that. It's like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, no, I got you. What about you, Tony?
I'd actually not heard about this, so it's kind of like shocking that they would actually do this, like reprimand her for like talking for that reason. And like the point of acting is to get into a character. That's the whole point. So I don't understand why someone doing like a special needs character would get criticized for it if people have done it in the past. I don't understand it.
Right. What about you, Bean Sauce?
Just like Tony, I would say this is my first time actually hearing about such an event having to even occur. But knowing the climate that we're in and currently how people act, essentially, especially on social media, where cancel culture, quotations, is not really real, actually exists. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, because it's how people feel. They should have somebody else apologize in the name for somebody else who may not be able to speak for themselves. But if somebody doesn't see a problem with it, they still force like an apology out of somebody, only simply just because they feel like they're in the right. Which essentially, when Lupita's act, which by the way was easily the star of the show, of course, but I mean, what else can you say? Lupita's was one of the greatest parts of the movie. She played her role well, so at that point, I mean, what else can you say? It's like, I'd rather she apologize and get it over with instead of having to deal with a backlash of saying, but I didn't do anything wrong, and then everybody else comes out and say, well, da 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 da, and then next thing you know, Lupita's no longer allowed to act because they'll shut her down quicker than, I don't know, like Betty White or something.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was just actually kind of wild that she even had to go and do all that. But I think that she did an exceptional job. I think she did very well. I've been enjoying her acting, and I think that she definitely continue to do some great things. And I think that she was the star of this. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys about this. Like I said, we have a few people, so we can kind of keep it short. Why did she? I never understood why. So Lupita's role, when this happened to her as a little girl, and maybe I missed it, why didn't she tell her husband about this before? Like, why didn't she say what had happened and everything like that? So when they go, like, he wouldn't have never suggested going to the beach. Like, what maybe my mindset is now, knowing what happened at the end and everything like that, was the fact that, because I think that she got switched. I think that was what they wanted us to see, is that she was the tethered that was down in the basement. And maybe that's why she didn't say anything to her husband. Like, I'm generally confused about this.
That was exactly it. Yeah, that was exactly it. It was no way that she was going to be able to tell her husband exactly what happened without him finding out. Even though obviously, like, he didn't know until they saw themselves pull up that night. But yes, that's exactly why, sir.
Okay.
That on top of that, the fact of saying I seen myself in a hall of mirrors sounds like it easily, if somebody told me that you seen it, yeah, it's like if somebody told me that they seen themselves in the sound of mirrors, it's like somebody telling me they realized that mirrors exist for the first time in their life. That would basically just dumb down her point that she's saying, oh well, I saw myself and like that person was me. So what I'm thinking is maybe there was some sort of connection between like how the tethered started, like when they started coming out and getting their revenge at the same time that she went to the beach. I was assuming maybe there's a connection there, maybe some sort of a timing wise. I'm pretty sure the other tethered figured it out, but
yeah, it's like she knew that they were planning, or maybe she had a feeling, maybe she didn't 100% know, but she had a feeling that the tethered were planning to rise up at that particular point. And she was like, nah, either that or it was just a standard premonition that, you don't want to go back to the place that you were at first, where you were, quote unquote, born or processed, manufactured at.
Okay, I got you. Now, another question that I had, and I'm sure you guys listening to the movie had this question. Why did the little girl not, when she grew up, didn't know how to speak properly. Like she was the original one. She was the one that was with her dad and her mom when they were playing games and everything like that, and she was talking just fine. And then she wakes up, at the end, she wakes up and realizes that she's handcuffed to the bed. What changed that she just forgot how to necessarily speak the entire time? Was it the fact that she was eating rabbit the entire time, or she stopped talking because the other people couldn't wouldn't listen to her? Like what exactly was going on? I didn't get it.
I think I can answer that. On my phone for cutting you. I think I can answer that. Like at the end of the scene where it reveals that they switch plays, you can see her like grab her neck. So I highly think that she probably either squeezed her larynx, or she didn't have anything to drink for the whole entire time. So that's why she had so much trouble talking.
Okay.
Which I could probably piggyback on top of that. It could have most likely been essentially not only she's the only person who knows how to speak, the other tether didn't. So I would assume long periods of time without speaking to somebody, essentially you do lose that motor function of actually speaking to people. You actually can't like say, "Hey, how you doing?" to somebody who's just gonna answer back like, "Rrr." So it's gonna be it's gonna be a little bit hard to communicate.
Yeah.
with like zombies and whatnot, which I could see why. Once she actually came out back out of her, essentially the factory that she came from, when she first spoke, it felt like her voice was hoarse, and I would assume that it's just like she didn't actually have like a good water source. 'Cause, I mean, the only water source I could think of would probably be rabbit blood. Which is as gruesome as it sounds, but maybe it's probably the best.
Yeah, that's
just over the years, like your throat is going to get hoarse. Like if you have absolutely no source of liquids besides blood, which is that's disgusting to even think about. That had to have been there. Plus you're not practicing down there the English language. You have to adapt to their language. So I think that she was doing that the most. So when she came back up, she just had to slowly get back into it in order to communicate to them what she wanted.
Okay, can we talk about the creepy 1986? I know this actually happened and everything like that when they wanted to do a Hands Across America and everything like that, and then the Tether ended up doing that in the present time. And when they came up and actually started killing like their tethered forms, can we talk about how when we saw them and were introduced to the Tether for the first time, there's one scene when they were riding the roller coaster, and then but down below they're just sitting in a room moving left to right and like convulsing, like shaking and everything like that. I was like, whoa, what the hell? Like, yo Tony, what were your thoughts about this, bro?
Was it when they were copying whatever the people?
Yeah, exactly, they were copying whatever the people were doing.
I didn't understand that, because like how you saw it was only a corridor and a bunch of rooms.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how would they be able? That was a big ass plot hole right there. Like, how were they able to do the things that the characters were doing up in the real world?
Yeah, I didn't understand it like at all.
Yeah, so how it was explained, sort of in the movie, and then when I kind of looked up, was when the government or the man was manufacturing the clones of the actual human, they said that they didn't have souls. So the tether did not have a soul. So therefore they were still tethered or bound to their human forms. So whatever the humans ended up doing up above, they had to do down below. It didn't matter what. They couldn't really do anything themselves if their human forms were doing things. So I believe that the only times that, and of course they didn't fully explain it, but I believe that the only times that the tether could actually like do what they wanted to do, quote unquote, was when either they were being controlled by the government, whatever they had them doing, or when the humans were asleep. So, and that's the only other thing. That's the only other premise that I could think of as to why, like, the only other time that the tether could do anything. But that's literally they said that the tether did not have souls. So therefore they were tethered or bound to their human forms, and whatever the humans did, the tether ended up doing down below.
Okay, and I actually think that was that's definitely a good point that you made about the tether with not having any souls and everything like that. When you go to the children, and then you notice the son, he noticed that already. He's actually, in my opinion, he's the smartest one of them all, because he realized that his mom is actually the one that was switched. He just knew. I think it from what I saw from the movie, and tell me if I'm wrong, you guys, it seemed like it was hinted that he knew, and that's why when she was driving off and everything like that, when they're all driving along the way, he looked at her, she looked at him, and just kind of smiled, because when she killed her tethered form, she went in, like she legit went in, and she can speak the language. And I was like, wait, why is she talking like this? And why is she laughing the way she is, like when it comes to like the killing? And then we see the end, and like, it all made sense. She was a girl that she saw her tethered self in the crazy house, and then she had this whole plan. And like when you really think about it, it actually is pretty dark. When she was talking about when she met her prince, she didn't have the tether form didn't have that luxury. She was forced. When so pretty much when she was born, her second child, so the son, she had to have a C-section. So you can't have a C-section down there. So she was really messed up. And when you really think about it, it was actually pretty gruesome. Like, but it's crazy. Like I said, the plot and everything along those lines. So I'm gonna go down the list. I'm gonna go with you first, Tony. What was a scene that you remember very well that stood out to you? If it was the killings and everything like that, when the tethered what first arrived, let us know.
Probably when they first appear at the house and they start like swarming it around.
Okay,
that's probably the best scene in the movie.
Okay, JG.
I think when we found out that there were more tethered than just the initial family, when we actually saw Elizabeth Moss and her family, we saw them pull up, boy, I think that's when it really turned up to me. I was like, oh, we got other people out here. Yeah, like they were kind of going in on that part. So I think that was one of the best parts to me.
Okay, Bishop.
Yeah, I got to pick up back over JG. I was really like too into it in the first part when the family showed up and look outside. All of a sudden, their clones showed up. I was like, oh snap! I didn't know there were more. Like I thought it was just on the black family, but when I found there was more of them, I was like, damn, this is hitting.
True. Bean sauce.
I would piggyback off what Tony said. The entire setup to like how the family surrounded the house was easily one of the most impressive like forms of like horror media, I could say, in my opinion, because essentially the buildup was great in itself. You had the dad trying to like scare off the people, didn't work, and then as soon as like I don't know who said something, I think the dad barked at the kids or whatnot. As soon as the kids split her up and then like everybody else disappeared, then like they all came towards the house. And then my favorite scene in the movie where he was where the dad picked up the rock and he was all like, they had a key outside, and he was like, what kind of white shit? it was easily just like that entire sequence was just great to me. I appreciated that part of cinematography, I guess.
Okay, true. Now, to just save time and everything like that, because I mean, honestly, when you really think about the plot and everything along those lines, you can really dig deep and actually have like really intellectual conversations. Overall, I want everybody to go through, and we're just gonna go ahead and do the scores and tell us why you give this movie the scores. I'm gonna go with you first, Bean Sauce. What would you give this movie out of 10?
Essentially, well, since I've seen it, I probably might have to go see it again to get like better judgment as well, because a lot of the scenes, and there's probably like a little bit of information I missed out, because probably just bad luck for me. I did miss like a few minutes of the beginning scenes because I came late, and then I missed like probably had to figure out my seat and whatnot. But off my initial just going through the movie like that, I could give it like a solid 8, because essentially it was a good movie. It holds your attention, and a lot of the twists and like little pieces you could probably figure out for yourself, which isn't like, like too heavy-handed with it.
Okay, an 8. What about you, Bishop?
Um, I was expecting to Get Out. I'm not gonna lie, I really was expecting it to be better than Get Out, like something connected to Get Out. I was a little bit disappointed, but I didn't like affect the film too much. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But the first part, feel like was like a complete letdown for me. I was somewhat bored with the first part. Um, I was kind of angry with the whole family, the main characters, because they're black, but they kept acting like a bunch of white people throughout the whole entire film, like making these like stupid mistakes. The mom kept getting out of the car, just like stupid mistakes. I feel like no black person will ever make in real life or whatnot. But yeah, I was shocked by the whole clones being more than just one people. So if I had to give it a good grade, I give it a 7.8.
A 7.8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 7.8. All right, JG.
Man. So I think that even though a lot of people felt like the initial previews kind of gave a lot of it away, when we ended up seeing throughout the rest of the movie that obviously, they aren't the only one. I was kind of pissed off at the beginning because when we see the initial family, and they asked, what do you want, and it still took them forever to like actually tell them like what they wanted, which initially killed them and take their spots. It like that build up was killing me, so I was just like, what the hell is this movie about? Like, what do you all actually want? And then like I thought it was gonna be super whack, because again, I just thought that it was gonna just stay like in that area and then eventually go back to what was it, like Santa something, I forgot.
Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, yeah, my bad. Santa Cruz, and for those initial scenes, kind of like, how the hell are we gonna get back here? Like that part just didn't make sense to me. Then obviously when we found out that there were more, and this was actually like a well thought out plan, and then ultimately found out at the end that Adeline and Red were switched, and once you find out everything else after seeing the movie, I think that was still really well done. Like I found myself scared at points. I found myself enjoying the all of the visuals that I was seeing. I enjoyed all of the subtle hints, like the Bible verses 11:11, seeing that multiple times. So it was a lot of little things that again like just drew me further and further into the film. The only thing that I didn't like was the very end, when they were showing like all of the tethered actually holding hands going across America. Because first of all, I want to know how far that they went, and second of all, did they just stay holding hands? Because I still don't think that it was fully explained why. I know that was one of the last things that Adelaide saw when she was a little kid, was a Hands Across America commercial, and that's why Red down there, that's why she ended up sticking with that, and that was her initial plan. But I still would like to know, like, what does that mean, besides just trying to send a message across America? Like, don't forget about us. We're the tether. We were the ones that were down below, while you all were sitting up here having everything, and we had nothing. But at the end of the day, like, it wasn't the human's fault who you actually cloned. I mean, it was obviously human's fault, period, because the government did it. But it still wasn't, the people up top that had no idea what was going on. So I would have liked some more closure or explanation on that part. But overall, I still would like to give this movie an 8.5. Still not as good as Get Out in my opinion, but it was a very solid movie, and I'm still looking forward to what Jordan Peele has.
Okay. Tony.
I'm gonna give the movie an 8, and the movie was good. And to answer Bishop's thing about why she got out of the car, because I think she wanted to see like that they actually a real person could have a kid with a tethered person. Like when the girl died and she was holding her face, like she was like, rest in peace, because it was another person like her, a tethered person.
Right, because you couldn't kill her. Not the fact that it represented her daughter, but the fact that that would have been her. That would have been her tethered child. She would have had it down there.
Yeah, and the movie was actually filmed like 30 minutes away, so I could just go to like the set, and that's actually pretty cool.
Okay.
And yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna give the movie an 8. It had a good balance of everything. I just wish it had like more horror elements and a little bit less comedy, but the movie was good.
Okay. I think all you guys made some great points when it comes to the positive and the negatives of it. I would also give it a solid 8. I didn't go in thinking that it was going to be Get Out. I felt like, why would he do this? Why would he make a movie associated with Get Out? I mean, you see that he, the success of Get Out and how well it did. But I also did think that he set the tone for the first movie very, very high. So his second movie, a lot of people are going to be like, well, is it going to be as good as Get Out? And it's kind of fair but unfair to kind of judge it that way just because they're separate movies. Now, if it was a continuation and it was like a Get Out Part 2, then yeah, I say compare it more. But we're humans, we're always going to try to compare. But overall, I think the movie was pretty solid. I wouldn't necessarily say I was scared. Maybe there were some couple of creepy scenes and everything along those lines, but it kept me the plot and everything, and just the story and how everything was, the actors, the actresses, and how everything was. I did have a lot of questions. I think there was a lot of things that were like, okay, well, what's next? Okay, so are they not gonna be killed since the fact that since they killed their tethered selves? So are they good? Are they solid? Because I think I thought the plan was that only that your tethered self could kill you. I think the other side was just messing with you and everything like that, so your tethered self can kill them. I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, left me with a lot of questions. So I'm sharing like the post interviews and everything like that with Jordan Peele, and everything will get revealed. So I would also give it an 8. And with that being said, out of the 5 of us, the score is 8.06. So pretty solid score. So this has been the review of Us. So shout out to Bishop, Bean Sauce, and Tony from the GI Patreon for coming up and reviewing this with us. Thank you very much for your continued support. We really do appreciate it. If you guys would like to be able to be in a video just like as this, be sure to check out our Patreon. That is patreon.com/GI updates. We have a whole bunch of awesome tiers where you can be part of videos just like this one. Also, we have a GI Patreon Discord where all the things go down, gaming, everything like that, sports related things, all of that. And if you're looking for a cool community to kind of grow with and everything like that, and you're looking for people with different interests and all that, check out our Patreon. It continues to support the entire game Illuminaughty. So thank you guys so much. So this has been Ace of All Trades, UTXJG Jadon, Bean Sauce, Bishop, and Tony, and stay enlightened.